We're with Brendan Fisher, Federal and FEC Reform Program Director at the Campaign Legal Center, a Washington-based public interest group. Brendan, after the last election in which the loser, Hillary Clinton, raised and spent more money than the winner, Donald Trump, a lot of people are asking, does money actually matter that much? How do you respond to that? Does money matter?
Yeah, it definitely matters. Well, first of all, I would say that money matters least on the presidential level when there's so many other factors involved in who wins and who loses. And there's also certainly the role of free media on the presidential level. Either presidential candidate is able to generate an enormous amount of free media just by showing up somewhere or by firing off a tweet. Money really matters most in down ballot races. A six-figure expenditure by a super PAC in a Senate race or a close House race can really make all the difference. And money matters also in terms of who can run for office in the first place. In order to run for office, you need to have a wealthy network of friends and potential donors. You need to be comfortable with asking people for money. After you're elected, money matters a great deal in terms of who you're responsive to, and it also matters in terms of how you spend your time. Because of the role that money plays in U.S. elections overall, the average incoming congressman spends 30 hours a week fundraising. They have a goal of raising $18,000 per day, which means that new members of Congress are oftentimes spending more time asking people for money than they are talking to the people that they actually represent. And it's not surprising then that in many cases, the policies that we are seeing passed and enacted and proposed on the federal level tend to reflect the preferences of the donor class rather than the preferences of the country as a whole.
Okay, now a lot of people have heard of the Citizens United case. Could you maybe just give me a quick refresher? What exactly did that case do?
Sure. Well, Citizens United specifically struck down the prohibition on corporations making independent expenditures in elections. And what that did was pave the way for the creation of super PACs. PACs that can raise and spend unlimited amounts of money, can accept contributions from corporations and unions. But Citizens United did not affect the underlying contribution limits, did not affect the fact that an individual can only give $2,700 directly to a candidate. Citizens United also endorsed disclosure. It said that disclosure could actually help limit the potential for corruption arising from unlimited independent and corporate expenditures. But what we've seen as a result of Citizens United has been much different than what the court envisioned. The premise of Citizens United, the logic of the court's decision in Citizens United was that independent expenditures could not corrupt because they're independent. But despite that, we've seen the rise of single candidate super PACs. We've seen super PACs that are coordinating or working very closely with the candidates that they're supporting. So in many ways, the idea that a $1 million contribution to a super PAC working directly with the candidate poses little risk of corrupting that candidate is laughable.
Okay, and so what are a couple of other key cases that kind of have led to the campaign finance landscape we have right now?
Well, the more recent case, the next major campaign finance case to come after Citizens United was McCutcheon v. FEC, which was a 2014 decision and struck down what are known as the aggregate limits, the total amount that any individual donor can give to all federal candidates and all parties as overall. So even though McCutcheon maintained the limits that apply directly to how much an individual can give to a candidate, it struck down the limits on how much an individual can give to all candidates and all political parties. And the McCutcheon decision, combined with the role of joint fundraising committees, which allow candidates and political parties to join together and accept a single check from a large donor, has helped to further undermine the contribution limits that have been on the books for many decades and which the Supreme Court has repeatedly upheld. The Hillary Victory Fund, for example, was a joint fundraising committee between the Clinton campaign and the DNC and 32 participating state party committees. Could accept a single $350,000 check from a single donor. Supposedly, or in theory, the money was divided up between all of the participating parties and the Clinton campaign. But in practice, the money was ultimately routed back to the DNC and spent on activities that benefited Clinton.
Okay, and finally, tell me a little bit about the Federal Election Commission. How good of a job is it doing on investigating and enforcing these disclosure and contribution limit laws?
FEC is not doing a very good job of enforcing the disclosure laws that the Citizens United Court endorsed, and the FEC is also not doing a very good job of protecting the independence of super PACs from the candidates that they're supporting. And in large part, that's because of the structure of the FEC and the three Republican commissioners who've been appointed, the three Republican commissioners who are ideologically opposed in many ways to the overall mission of the agency.